I hereby call the City Council meeting for April 26th to order. If everybody would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, roll call.
Councilmember Andrusik.
Here.
Councilmember Mercado.
Here.
Vice Mayor King.
Here.
And Mayor Sierra.
Here. Thank you very much. We are moving on. Any reordering of the agenda tonight?
No, ma'am.
All righty, on to public comments. This is for anybody who wants to speak about anything they feel like speaking, whether it's part of the agenda or not. I do have two speaker slips for tonight. The first one is Steve Licken. Mr. Licken, please step up.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Licken from Buellton. I'd like to talk to you about something tonight that's real dear to my heart, and that's the Avenue of Flags. I got the title of my little speech here is $1 Million Vision. Who could have possibly dreamed what $1 million vision would look like 20 years later? The vision of the Avenue of Flags had more input, more money, more consultants, many consulting firms, countless hours from staff and the public, all the way back to the Cal Poly study that was done in the early 70s, which a few of the business people in town paid for themselves. Never has the vision been what it is today. After all these years and all that money, all we have to show for it is a non-watered dirt patch lawn with weeds as high as some of the plantings in the design areas. And I know part of the answer is going to be we don't have money in the budget, we don't have water, but I know both of those things aren't true. The biggest thing is this is the most visible part of our town for an Anderson's restaurant where our flags are. And when people drive by there, this showcases what our town is all about, the American flags for everybody to enjoy. I think what everybody needs to do is take a drive around town and pretend you're a tourist, which we pay a lot of money to bring into this town, to eat, stay, and enjoy their weekend. Years ago, when we first became a city, we had a beautification award for homeowners and businesses, and it was a real big success. I'm afraid if we were to start this program up again in Buellton, we would not be setting a good example. Spending the most money for the biggest eyesore. And I know we can do better than this. I have some pictures here that I want to pass around. Should be one there for everybody. You got two? One. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
We can share. These pictures were taken on Tuesday afternoon along the Avenue of Flags. And I don't know how much money we're spent for maintenance on the Avenue of Flags, but when you look and see how tall those weeds are, somebody's been missing sometime once in a while. It's really, really pretty sad pictures. Now the other thing I'd like to talk to, and I know that it really has nothing to do with Buellton, but the off-ramps coming into town and going out of town, they got weeds 3 to 4 feet high. And I know we can instruct Caltrans to keep those areas clean. The other areas are a brand new strip of sidewalks down by the Shell station down there. All the new storm drains, they're all full of dirt. You can't even see the storm drains on the one of them, it's full of trash. So I would just like to see what we can do to improve our situation. It's really a bad eyesore for the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. City manager taking notes, and I can talk to Caltrans at CAG.
Yes, and our annual weed abatement usually starts about now for properties throughout the city that have weeds on the private property, so,
This is our property.
as well as ours. But, I mean, there's a lot out there that is the private property that's starting to grow.
Yeah, yeah. Alrighty, our next speaker is Fenn. Step on up, sir.
Finn, 546 Buellton. This is more like a side note. As you know, for about a year and a half, I've been hammering you about using the microphones. Some do and mostly don't. So I decided to spend $2,900 on a hearing aid. Maybe I can hear you then. I know it's a cheap shot, but I couldn't help it.
Thank you very much. I don't have any other speaker slips, so I'm going to close public comment. Bring back to the consent calendar. We've got a few items. We have the minutes of April 26, 2018 regular city council meeting. Thanks, Steve. List of claims to be approved and ratified for payment to date for fiscal year 2017-18. The contract extension with Cosmont Companies for economic development services. The contract amendment to the agreement for animal control services between the County of Santa Barbara and the City of Buellton for fiscal year 2018-19 and fiscal year 2019-20, and acceptance of public waterline easements with flying flags. I'd like to pull item number 5.
With that, Madam Mayor, I'll move for approval of items 1 through 4.
Second.
Linda?
Okay, Councilmember Andrusik.
Aye.
Vice Mayor King.
Aye.
Councilmember Mercado.
Aye.
And Mayor Sierra.
Aye, thank you. I just had a comment, really, with acceptance of public waterline easements with flying flags. There's been some discussion around town about the legality of it all. I do agree that there were some issues that came up earlier that I questioned when we had flying flags put in for development, and then it was delayed and picked up again after the timeline had expired. I have spoken to our city attorney, and this agenda item is acceptance of public waterline easements only. The other issue is not part of this agenda item, so I wanted to make that clear. I don't know if anybody else had any other questions or comments?
I do, Madam Mayor, and I was going to ask that this be brought back for better understanding, simply because this, I want to understand, are they allowed to connect anywhere along the line? How do we handle connections?
New connections or what?
New connections, well, let's say at Flying Flag, because we're
Right.
basically, they're letting us have the right to make connections along the way, but I had asked a couple of years ago where when and where the connection fees were ever paid for the easement, for the all of the development that's gone on there. And I was going to politely ask that we that we see what applications, fees paid, copies of proof that all of the items were met and certified, because it just said we're giving a 10-foot easement, and I want to make,
We are, okay, let me clarify what the staff report is. As part of the development project, the project is required to extend the city's water main through the site in order for the project to make a connection to serve their project.
Okay.
So that's the condition of the project. So as they're extending the city's water main, because it's our public line, they must give us an easement in order to maintain the city's water line.
It's
I
not,
follow.
That's what this
they're
is,
giving
the
us
report.
the easement, not vice versa.
There are 3 of them, it looks like.
Yes.
Now, will there be future water hookups to that line at Flying Flags? This is
What
just,
their connections are, that is it. That is all calculated and paid for during the project.
This is to create a
This
looped
is Yes.
a looped water line for safety purposes.
Correct.
And we need the easement in order to maintain the line if there is a break in it.
Does this loop go through to the hotel?
Yes, it does.
And that's where the issue is, that it brings the hotel
That's the
back
loop.
to the,
Right, because
Yeah.
there's two
Back to
dead
their-
ends at
their
that point, so
connection.
this connects and makes it a circular loop.
Okay.
And we do want our systems to be looped. We don't want dead ends in them, because for serviceability, if there's an area that we need to shut down, we shut off a certain section, then service can still be maintained through the other side. And also it keeps our water quality well, because then you don't have the dead ends of water just sitting there. So we want our
That's what
system
happened down
always
on,
looped.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that's all it
This
is. It has
is-
nothing to do with fees,
Right.
nothing,
This
it's
is
just
nothing, this is the
Acceptance
standard.
of the easement.
Right.
so we can then maintain our lines through their property.
But then let me ask a question, maybe this needs to be a new item. All of the cabins that have cropped up over there, do they each have a meter on them?
No, they have a private system. Flying Flags has, I can't remember, total, maybe about 3 or 4 separate water meters, larger meters, and from there, behind the meter, they have their own network of connections for each of their cabins.
And it has nothing to do with these
Right,
easements
so
or
that's
these
similar
lines.
to, like, the mobile home parks. That's how it's set up. They have certain main meters that they
We
pay
each have
through
our
the-
own
and
meter
then they
over
have
there.
their own.
I saw that there was I thought there was a meter charge for hookups at Flying Flags. When I was reviewing our rates and processes that we charge each month, and I just assumed they had sub-meters, which...
Whatever Flying Flags charges their guests for hookups, or that's their own charge. That's not something that comes
So
through,
we just
passes
have, we
through.
have then only 3 meters we're able to verify the usage for the unit? the whole
Yes,
place?
that's the only connections they have. So whatever the total amount of water goes through there, they pay the same as anybody else.
Okay, because it was called out, it said Flying Flags connection, or hookup connection fees per month.
Yeah,
It looks like...
Again, I don't know what they
I
charge.
think it was $30 or something. I didn't bring that manual with me.
The
Well,
the
there
trailer
had been
places, they usually have their own
discussion that they
connections.
didn't,
I don't know.
it didn't seem that it had been, I don't know when the fees were ever paid for all the remodel that came. Was it way back, was it back in 2000?
They pay either a time of permitting or before occupancy. Before we close the projects out, they pay all their fees
Okay.
that's required.
And that's
We
a-
will not close out a project
That's a
unless...
document that a citizen could ask for if they wanted to see it. Okay.
Sure.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you very much for
Okay.
clarifying. Are we comfortable?
with that, I would move for approval of the acceptance of the public water easement.
I will second that.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you, Rose.
Thank you very much.
Aye.
Do you want a roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay, Councilmember Andrusik.
Aye.
And Mayor Sierra.
Aye.
Councilmember Mercado.
Aye.
And Vice Mayor King.
Aye.
Thank you very much. All righty, moving on. Presentations,
No, ma'am.
public hearings.
No, ma'am.
Quick meeting. Council member comments/items. Councilmember Mercado, anything?
I'm good right now.
Councilmember Andrusik?
I have 5, ma'am. I had 6, but I would like us to take credit for the wonderful job we're doing with our population. It's in every Sunday's paper, and it is a significant milestone. We've come over 5,000 population. It's 5127, and I would like to see if we could get that put on our 4 signs, north, south, east, and west. Before, we had 4 different numbers, and we've gotten them all to say the same thing, and so I would ask that we bring that in as soon as we can. The next thing was, again, being asked with all the movement at Montecito, literally movement, what is Buellton's disaster preparedness? And I went on our website, and it says that emergency management plan, it says 2013, but I don't see any updates, so I was going to, I'm just asking that we have a presentation as soon as we can of what our disaster
And
plan
I
is.
believe I did this late last year to the
did?
council. on this.
Okay.
And we're updating the plan. It must be done every 5 years. That one's still in place. There's no changes. There's no
2013 it was accepted, so it'd be sometime this year then.
Right, and all our staff has taken the ICS 100 and 700 emergency training. We always stay up to date on that. So we're ready for a disaster. And I've provided the...
Not that we want one.
No,
I provided an update to the council last year on our procedures and such, and I can provide a PowerPoint to the council.
I was just going to say either PowerPoint or that we could put it on the city website.
I believe it is on the city. I'll check if it's on the website.
What's on the city website is what I printed, and the most recent is, it says draft Buellton Local Hazard Mitigation Plan is being plan revised July 2017, but I didn't.
That one was done, and the council adopted that plan,
Right.
the hazard mitigation
And so
plan.
the emergency management with all of the confusion in Montecito, citizen asked me, and I said, well, it's got to be on our website, and
Yeah.
I wasn't
Well,
able to.
staff is fully trained in responding to disaster, and we work with the Sheriff's Department and County Fire and the Office of Emergency Management. They're all there to support us, and we follow that plan, and staff is trained on that. But I'd be happy to get you the PowerPoint, and I thought it was on the website, and I will double check on
Okay,
that.
and if it is, if you just show me where it is, I can direct it, because there've been some communications back and forth. And with that, I think I'm a happy camper.
Vice Mayor, any comments, items?
Just one question, and I haven't been by there in a while. Did we replace that sign on Central, the stop sign at 2nd Street yet?
Oh, the
Is that
faded,
in the works? There's a stop sign northbound.
that's faded?
Yes.
Yes, that's on our list. So
It
I've
is,
seen it as
okay.
well. So we will
And
take
the other
care of
one was, my wife said that we need a farmer's market, and I had to mention it in council or I couldn't come home.
Got 2 supporters on that.
Yeah, that'd be really nice to have on the avenue. Okay, I just have a couple. First of all, the 2 book boxes are in the ground at the dog park, and on 2nd Street by Oak Park. Thanks to, after I've installed them, thank heavens for Finn Room, who went out and fixed them already. But they are beautiful. I've seen parents sitting at the one by the park reading to their children, and it's really exciting. It is on the website, littlefreelibrary.org. If you type in Buellton zip code, they both pop up. It's really nice. The only 2 in the valley. So really, really proud. A comment about Buellton and its water, not really going to get into it, about illegalities. Buellton dealt with the state licensed water specialist to come up with what we did, and absolutely nothing illegal in it. The Special Olympics have their first scramble this Saturday at the Buellton Rec Center at noon, and it would sure be incredible if anybody could go down and cheer our Valley team on. This is their first game with another team, and it'd be really nice to, they love an audience, so it would be really, really nice. Also this Saturday, the Buellton Asphalt Kickers will be participating in the Santa Ynez Half Marathon, so go Buellton. And that's it.
What time is the event at the
Noon
noon for the
for the Special Olympics.
Yes,
12 o'clock at the,
at Honda?
yeah. At our the rec center there.
Okay.
Yeah. So anybody who could go, I'm going to try to make it, but I might be on mile 10 of the half marathon.
Or riding in the recovery.
Dragging along with the rest of us.
That's true. Anyway, all righty. End of council member comments items. Written communications?
No, ma'am.
Committee reports. Do we have any committee reports?
None.
Then it's an early time of the month.
It is an early time of the month. No committee reports. All righty. Moving on to our business item. Discussion and direction regarding the city-owned property at 480 Central Avenue. Mr. Beardzinski.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. In January, the City Council directed staff to investigate the use of the property as a public parking lot. This included a parking layout, construction cost estimate, and parking revenue case studies prepared by Cosmont Companies. And I do have Joe Diegas on the line from Cosmont if the city has any particular questions or the City Council has any questions on the economics. So they provided case studies from Solvang, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Isla Vista. And they assume, let's say, a $50 monthly charge per space. So there's 19 spaces on our diagram. That would be a yearly income of $11,400 to the city and represents an 8.5% return on the site improvement costs. So the one attachment shows 19 spaces and provides a walkway and privacy fence for the residents to the south. And access would be from the existing alley, and the total construction cost is estimated at $280,000 with bid plan preparation around $28,000. So we're looking at City Council direction regarding the property, and if they want to include this as a city capital improvement project for the next fiscal year, or if you want to wait for a developer to come forward as part of the Development Opportunity Reserve as part of the specific plan to construct the lot. So there's various options, but just a starting point. And again, Mr. Diegas from Cosmont is on the line if you have any questions on the economics.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being here, Joe. Anybody with questions? I had one. Looking at the map, it looks like our property line, the neighbor's existing porch, is that on our property?
Yes, it is.
And we're going to build them a 5-foot walkway to get to their porch on our property?
We thought putting a parking lot next to the residence, it might be something good for the city to provide an easement or some sort of access to them so they aren't impacted by the parking lot. But that's just a concept, and we can always change that.
I was just curious. When I was looking at the lines, I just
No,
didn't.
you
Okay.
looked at it correctly.
Okay, thank you.
Seemed like, I mean, we would have an agreement that they wouldn't be building a patio then across
Right.
the sidewalk.
Yes. Yeah,
Something like
we'd work out some agreement with them, but we thought in good faith that if we put in a parking lot next to them, maybe they get some benefits out of
It's
it
a
as
small
well.
lot as it is, to give up 5 feet is a thing.
But we wouldn't have been able to get any other parking spaces even if we took that additional 5 feet. So I think that was part of the thought process as well.
If there are not any questions, I will open it up for public comment. Anybody want to talk about the property at 480? No? Closing public comment? Bringing it back to council for discussion?
How would you work the monthly? Will it be a month to month? So if we decide to change the use of the operation or increase, I mean, 50 a month is pretty good rate for parking, but we're really not a metropolitan area.
Right. Well, if it goes away, it goes away, and then we'd have to, if it was used for parking for their development, we'd have to find some alternative parking for whatever project comes forward.
Would this be then deemed a parking district?
I think this would be the first step that we could then start working on a parking district once we get a lot. So if we get a lot maybe on the avenue as well as this one, then I think we have the seeds to start the parking district that's part of the specific plan.
Because the carrot there is for developers to buy the space
Yes.
off of the property where they're developing.
Or to pay for the
Pay for the
development?
development, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm a little bit more in favor of that
And that,
myself.
exactly.
There's so many projects we could do on the avenue that would have more of an impact in the beginning that I mean, I like what we have. If I can't have my low-income housing, then this works.
And this is fine because we have the economics, we have a cost estimate, and we have a plan. So if a developer wants to come in and take advantage of that, we have the base work completed. So the city doesn't have to budget for it and do this particular one. You can maybe focus your resources to median 2 on the avenue where we want to have our flex space and parking, and maybe move
Our
forward
farmer's
on that.
market,
And farmer's market.
yeah.
Guess I can go home now. What was the
Long
cost
term,
on-
this is the best thing that we've seen come across. I think
I-
I'm in favor
I-
for it.
I agree.
I think, and later on, like I said, you know, most of those parking situations are only for the daytime, and if something comes up over at the other development and they need parking for valet parking, should be the number one option. And then you pay $60 at Staples Center.
125 at Oakland Coliseum.
There you go.
Per night?
Yeah,
Per day?
for a Sunday night football game.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Mark, what was the estimated cost to develop this again?
280 for the actual construction and about 28 to prepare the bid documents for the construction. So a little over 300,000 total.
So the plan is to have people buy these spaces for monthly parking.
That's one alternative that they could do. If they needed, let's say they needed 5 spaces on their property that they couldn't accommodate, they could purchase the 5 spaces, and that would be a monthly income for the 5 spaces.
And you had the gate idea, which
Right.
you could use from the alley.
But the plan on this is also to leave some of these open for daily parking, right? Was that part of that? I didn't see that.
Oh, the gate isn't part of this
Yeah,
one.
we haven't,
That was just
we haven't,
one of your ideas.
we haven't fleshed out the actual details. We just wanted to first get a layout, and if we want to add gates, that can be accommodated, et cetera.
Okay.
But if the council thinks this is a good concept, the plan we've developed, and we can throw that out there to the developers as opposed to budgeting for it now, I think that's the direction staff would be looking for.
I'd be in favor of it. I think that's the best plan.
Just asking now, can we preclude that people use it 24, that it be something parked there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, maybe creating it'd be nice to have it cleared out sometime each day, so if we took a street sweeper in there or decided to park.
We would, again, we'd flesh,
vehicles
we'd
in.
work out those details once somebody came through on parking times and how long they could park there, et cetera. So there's all of those things are open and on the table. But yeah, that's a good point. We would need some time to do the
Maintenance.
sweeping and maintenance.
So like the street sweeping.
Yes.
Got to be off the street a certain time.
It seems like a lot of money for a parking lot. How many estimates did you get?
Well, this is our construction cost estimate from our engineer. So it's not somebody who's going to be doing the work. It's using the standards that you use for engineering.
And it'll go to bid, so the low.
Yeah, we'll go to bid, so it'll
low
come,
bidder will get it.
when it goes out to construction, we'll do the full bid process, and then we'll see where that fleshes out.
Okay, so are we pretty much in consensus that we like the plan? We're not in any hurry to
It'll look
put
better
it
than
in
it
next
does now.
year's?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah,
very good. Thank you.
terrific. Thanks for hanging on, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Madam Mayor,
No problem at all. Thank you.
one of the things that occurred to me, because I'm just in tune to this, well, it's coming up, a budget, we've done a 2-year budget. I would like to see if we could, and this would be a future agenda item, if we can get, you can use the same numbers, but that we can all see what our budget is physically for the next year. I know we have a 2-year budget.
And I was going to do that in my city manager report.
Oh, good,
That
okay.
that is exactly what we're doing. We're not doing the full line item by line item, but you will see the department, the history of each
What the spending
fund,
is.
Right.
and what we're proposing to adjust the second year. The second year, basically everybody was up 2% from this current fiscal year, so that was kind of where that is. But we're going to do up and down adjustments per department, not line item by line item, and that's correct, so you can see where we're at and where we need to go. So it's
Well,
not the full
Okay.
analysis,
Oh, I
but we
understand.
will do all of that detail so you know where everything
And
is.
that report, I mean, you're gonna.
You
it'll
told
be
us, you
coming
told
up
me
next,
yesterday
or-
that's at our next meeting?
That is correct.
Okay, so
On
it's
the
not
twen-
tonight's
on the
minutes.
24th.
No.
I was trying to get us ahead of June for a lock on some money, on what the money is gonna be
We want to get a
coming
lock.
in and going out.
We want to get a lock on
Good.
May 24th.
Thank you.
Because we're also going to have the sheriffs making their presentation and their contract. Good news is it's even less than I told you before as the increase for the first year.
Good
So,
negotiating.
yeah,
They came in and hit us up at the head, and then they said,
That's
wait a
right.
minute, it's just gonna be a little punch here.
Okay, moving on. City managers report.
Gave you a little bit of it. Good news, Caltrans approved our Kaylor ADA sidewalk project. Correct, Rose? So
We just received the permits today.
we have received the permits today from Caltrans. So that's going to be part of the next road maintenance project?
No, it's not.
That's just on its own?
We already have a road maintenance out on the street, so we're putting together an informal bid package because it's concrete. We don't have concrete work in this road project. So we'll have Kaylor, we have some major, well, in the small section, concrete work on South McMurray to repair for our storm drain and a couple little minor items,
Yeah.
so we'll have a
So
separate
we'll get going
package for that.
on that.
Have you looked, I believe on, on Central Avenue, across from our property, I think we have the same thing. I'm not sure. I stopped to talk with the owner of the property, Judy, and I thought she showed me that they have a sidewalk, it goes around the corner, and it's got the same block that Kaylor did. I don't know.
I'll have to take a look.
If you
We'll
just
take a look at
peek. Totally different from Kaylor. Go ahead, Mark, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And as Chanel sent an email to the council, city's property tax is up 8.8%, and we're the top city in the county as far as property tax increase. And a lot of that had to do with the townhomes going in, some of the vacant property, and the commercial. So we're very pleased with that, and
Thank you, Chanel.
that'll be noted in our upcoming, mid-year budget review as well. So.
Every little bit helps, huh?
Yes. And that is it for me, and I'll turn it over to Steve.
Okay, Steve?
Hello,
Hello?
can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we have two closed session items tonight. One is item 7, conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9A. That's City of Buellton versus TJ Partners LLC et al. And number 8 is conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation, possible initiation of litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 subdivision D4, and there's just one case.
All righty. Thank you very much. We'll take about a 5-minute break then.
Madam Mayor?